Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a slow motion, friendly version of the Hate Napkin. Brought to you by Dr. Vazquez over the wall in
Matamoros, Mexico.
That's Matamoros, Mexico. Mexico for all of your over-the-wall periodontal and dental needs. And of course, we are brought to you also by special guest star Paul Lind of the Center Square, Carla from Burnt Corn, Alabama, where she's the editor-in-chief of the local Dairy Queen and manager of the Burnt Corn Star and Gazette.
Register and Tribune.
That's the Dairy Queen Register and Tribune, folks.
Not even close.
All right.
But I will tell you that when I got home, everybody looked at me and said, "You got a purty mouth."
Folks, welcome to season 1, episode 33 of Deep Inside the Annals of Hate, the Hate Napkin. All right, here we are. I'm back to my regular interrupting self now. Has anybody got anything for the napkin?
Of course.
All right, shoot.
How about this one? We can shake.
We can shakes.
Have you ever met someone in a business setting and you go to shake their hand and they their hand collapses in yours?
Well, it's like they have some sort of a disease, right?
And it's like, I'm afraid I'm gonna hurt them.
It's like suddenly their right arm becomes Stephen Hawking.
Exactly. That's it. That's exactly it. As a woman in business, I've always made it my policy to give that firm handshake. And when grown men, it's like their hand goes like this.
It's like they're trying to caress you towards orgasm.
It's not even, listen, if women got boners, it'd be a boner killer.
It'd be like if the hand was a vagina and you were like, find the clitoris, and their hand just goes, and it's like, it's just not, I'm not even gonna try. Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't find it. Nice to meet you.
Well, I've heard Stephen Hawking's a monster in the sack, so that's just a little
not anymore.
Fact about
not
it.
Anymore. There's so many jokes there. I think we'll let them all go, and our listeners can send them into info@thehatenapkin.com. You can also send us a message recording on our Anchor FM website. Go to Anchor FM, look up the Hate Napkin, and tell us all about your bettings of Stephen Hawking. Okay. Okay, so I used to run this huge billion-dollar science program for the state of South Carolina. And we would have these board meetings with premiers of other countries and all sorts of dignitaries and whatever. And I was the manager of the program. And sometimes before these board meetings, when I had to go around and shake all these C-suiters, important university presidents, I would totally give them I'm this big hulking guy, and I would give them the total weak handshake. I'd be like, Dr. So-and-so, it's so nice to meet you. Stick my hand out and then just let it go totally limp.
So you're that guy.
Well, I'm doing it for comic pleasure. There are people out there they're absolutely so frozen for human, they can't take human contact. That's what I mean. Can you imagine them in bed? Oh my God. Anyways, okay, yes, weak handshakes. There are things in the Hate Napkin, folks, that are in small,
what about
12 point.
A clammy hand.
Oh, a clammy.
Not pleasant as well.
I think
clammy.
I think I had that in a bad seafood restaurant in Myrtle Beach once. I ordered a weak clammy ham. And they all came on little saltines.
But any job interview I've ever been on, I'm just sweating and have clammy hands. I'm just like sweating.
Well, it's because you're wearing a chicken suit.
You know.
Actually, okay, you're right. The only thing worse than a weak handshake is a clammy weak. I think, okay, what's worse, weak handshake or clammy firm handshake?
They're both bad.
Yeah. But there's nothing worse, folks, than a clammy weak handshake. Or have you ever met somebody in business and they went to give you like the European kiss on the cheek? You're like, you stick out your hand and they lean forward so that your hand's either in their breast or their gut. And they're like, mwah, mwah. And I was like, I was not ready for that.
That's okay. What I always do is I just stop after the first one and they end up kissing my nose.
Or do you ever, okay, have you ever like formally met somebody from Asia and bowed to them? Just because you figured like that's what you're supposed to do. And like, as they stick out their hand, you're bowing.
No. We don't have a lot of Asian people here in Burnt Corn.
That felt good. See, folks, that's why we do the hate napkin, because it purges us of all our hate, so we can survive with the rest of you morons for the coming 7 days. All right, that was a good one. I've got one that if I say it's epic, then it'll flunk and get flushed. But I think it's profound. How about this? I have one for the hate napkin that I think is profound. Do either of you know what emotional autosuggest is?
No.
Okay, it's this new thing which I have experienced in several different electronic venues. So there's autocorrect, which suggests to you a misspelled word be spelled a different way, unless you're trying to spell fuck and it keeps saying duck, and you just like you start going crazy. You're like, no, I did not mean the duck emoji, I meant fuck. And then fuck. And you're like hoping that it's suddenly embedded in the computer's like infinitesimally minor brain of an AI. Anyway, emotional autosuggest reads your sentence or your email or your message and tells you that you are being improperly emotive. So, for example, I have a software program that I use called Family Wizard with my ex-spouse, which is, it's kind of the standard, right? So when you're sending messages back and forth, it tracks them, and if somebody goes off the handle, you can send it to your lawyers or whatever. Well, they have now implemented emotional autosuggest, and when I informed her, as a courtesy notice, that I was going to kill Devil, North Carolina, in the coming days, like it triggered the alarm and went like, physical threat of harm, physical threat of harm. I was like, you gotta be shitting me. It's the city name. But what's really like insane about the program is it doesn't tell you where. It doesn't like underline the terms that it suggests are improper. So it's just like somewhere you have threatened harm, somewhere you have threatened harm, and you're like scouring the email, going, "Oh my God, what did I say? I don't want to send this thing." And I'm like, "It's got to be kill devil." Like, really, seriously? So, I mean, here's another example. I used the phrase "cannot ever be," and it was like quoting something from our kid's doctor. Like, make sure that this medicine cannot ever be. And it was like, you have dictated to your ex-spouse. You have dictated to your ex-spouse. It's like, and again, I'm looking over the whole message going, what did I say wrong?
I can't wait. I can't wait for them to have this technology for your mouth. This is going to change everything.
But it happened to me, my day job, which I don't ever talk about where I am or where I work. But their annual evaluation software uses this too. So like when you fill out your own personal evaluation and then like submit it, and it gets like, you know, parallel to your supervisor's version. Like if you use words like, if you just use the word short, it gets underlined and it says, yeah, you haven't insulted somebody's physical characteristics. Got to be the dumbest technological invention ever.
I'm just glad it wasn't around when I was married, because I threatened to kill him all the time.
He called you the devil and you threatened to kill him.
No, I called him the devil and threatened to kill him.
But this is kind of where we're coming to. Is like this shut up. I mean, politically correct is a term that gets bandied about stupidly, but really, honestly, there are now software systems that are starting to judge our emotional. This is stupid. This can't go this cannot go into a positive direction in any way, shape, or form. Anyways, I mean, I think I'm one of the first people. This probably is one of the first shows, comic presentations ever, that's brought this to the world's attention. So for our 15 viewers out there living in their mother's basements in Wichita, please spread the word to all of your Steam game playing friends. Let's get this out there. Emotional autocorrect. Let's just please, can Anonymous take this on? Can you imagine like Pentagon communications? all future military communication being subjected to like emotional auto support, autocorrect. Oh my God. Okay, got that one out. Anybody else? Pauly, what are you hating in your Quonset hut there in Myanmar?
Oh, well, I've had this happen to me in the past couple weeks, a couple times. I go into a restaurant to eat by myself, and I'm immediately, either I try to sit down somewhere, or I'm told about all the more important guests that they have coming. Like, oh, well, we have a reservation for this big party of 12 people. I was like, oh, so someone more important than me is coming. So someone whose money you'd rather have than me is coming in an hour. So I can't sit here and have a beer. I got it. So if I'm not allowed to sit where I want to sit when I go into a place, I just leave now. Like as soon as it comes up,
Right.
like, oh, you can't sit there. Oh, no problem. I don't have to sit here. And then I don't explain. I don't have a conversation. I just leave.
That's
Which
good.
you know what you need to do is you need to try that with the party of 12.
Oh my
You
God.
just walk in and say, we just want to make sure that there's not like a single guy coming in here for a beer in an hour, right? Okay. And if they say, oh yeah, we might have some folks, you just all 12 turn around and walk up. You need to go back to that restaurant. Seriously, find 12 people off the street.
So this other place told me, if you leave by 6:30, if you leave by 6:30,
you can have a seat.
Yeah, so they're like gave me a time limit, like, oh well, we have some people coming. If you leave by 6:30, and I kind of was like, that's, you know what, that's a deal. I felt like privileged. I was able to sit at their.
You bartered your presence. Yeah. Carla, do you have this issue at the Dairy Queen there in Burntcorn?
Well, no, because we don't encourage people to stay. I mean, we just take out all the chairs. Get your shit and go.
So yeah, if you're one of those restaurants that does that before the party of 12 arrive, like an hour before, you should really just clear all the tables and chairs. Actually, I really hate this when this happens with DoorDash and Uber Eats. Like, I know you placed an order here, but somebody placed a bigger order. In fact, several people placed a bigger order just after you. So we're going to do their orders first. That's exactly what it's like, though.
But,
Right.
you know, they actually do that. I had ordered Uber Eats, and this restaurant was so busy doing this other order, even though mine came in first, they were making this poor Uber driver just sit there for almost an hour.
God.
And when he got to my house,
Means he's not getting paid for that.
yeah, but you know what? I'm not a jerk. When he got to my house with my food, I gave him $20.
I thought you were going to say you give him sweet love, but $20 is nice too.
$20 is sweet love to one of these people.
That's what it
Yeah,
costs
burnt-
here. That's exactly
And
what it
burnt
costs
corn,
here.
that's like your average monthly income in burnt corn.
Yeah.
Yeah, $20. I mean, not to mention all the Hershey chocolate pies you might be able to barter.
So on this same topic, going in and it's do you have a reservation, and it's a completely empty place. There's no one in there, and she's asking me if I have a reservation. And I'm like, can I sit
Yeah,
on
you're
the
like,
balcony?
yes.
Like, what? This pizza.
Yeah, yes.
or
I
piece.
now have a reservation of eating here.
That's it.
Sorry, I interrupted. I went against my new rule, but I recognized it. Actually, I think you've actually opened up an enormous hate can of worms here, Pauly, because it also occurs to me something similar is when you walk into a place of business and you're standing at the counter and the phone rings and they take the call and start helping them. And you're like, motherfucker, I just got in my car. I drove here. I parked my car. I walked in the store. I'm physically here. But you're going to take the phone call of Bob in his pajamas in his mom's cellar instead. And not only just say, thank you. Can you please hold and put it down? You're going to totally assist him with whatever he needs and just make me stand there and wait. There are all sorts of situations where you like physically arrive. You're there early. You're there first. And for whatever reason, the company just decides, we don't need your fucking money. When did the front of the line stop mattering? I mean, imagine there's like a queue for a movie theater that's like 20 people long, and you're at the front, and then the person goes, hey, you way there in the back, come up here. I'm gonna serve you first. I mean, that's basically what we're talking about.
No, that's like being a woman in line anywhere. We're invisible.
In the front or the back?
Doesn't matter. You could wait your turn, get to the front of the line, and they'll pretend they don't see you and talk to the man who walked up next to you.
That joke went totally over Carla's head, but I agree with you.
It's not over my head. I'm making a point.
I won't mansplain.
Good idea.
And for some reason, that also reminds me, I don't know why, I recently took my 14-year-old daughter to New York City, and everywhere we went, they said, every restaurant or probably, how can we help you, Mr. and Mrs. Bjorn? And I'm like, what? I know Woody Allen lives here, but come on.
That's good.
The first time it happened, both of our jaws just completely dropped, and she was like, I'm 14. And they were like, "Oh,
what's your
point?" I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And they gave Arik a high five.
I said, "I'm sorry. I assumed you were married." Like, oh, so you think this is my date? It's like, and the funnier thing about that is I'm 48, but a lot of people think I'm like in my late 50s or 60s. I mean, so that makes it even like, wait. Oh, Pauly, for those of you on YouTube, we thought the Myanmar Secret Service had arrived. You better go lock the Kwanzaa hut. Okay. Oh,
He's locking the Quonset hut.
he is. He's afraid that they caught wind. They caught wind of what we're up to here. Was trying to secretly subvert the people. Can we call this Radio Free Myanmar from now on?
You call it whatever you want.
I think that's going to be the title of this episode, Radio Free Myanmar. Okay, gotta write these things down, folks. All right, Carla, I feel like you were bursting with something from the hate napkin to come in with.
I wasn't exactly bursting. I was just waiting my turn.
But I sensed it. People who tell me she's holding up a napkin. This is amazing. She actually has hate napkins. People who tell me they grew up in the 60s. Bitch, you were born in 1969. Yeah, okay. I love that. You cannot own a decade. Okay, so let's ask the question. Obviously, if you were born in 1969, you don't get to claim like the Birds,
Exactly,
and all the other cultural, all and like Beyond the Valley of the Dolls. You don't get to claim any of that if you're born in 69. Totally agree with you, but that begs the question: at what point do you get to claim your decade based on where you're born? What age do you have
You
to
at
be
least have to have been born in the first part of it to have
But
any
did you really?
memory.
Right. So I was born in 73. I don't feel like I can claim the 70s as my. In 1979, I was 6.
In
My idea
1979, I was graduating from college.
Not only do you get to claim the 70s, you get to claim me. I mean, in 1979, my idea of like the world at large was the bowling alley 2 blocks away and the Chinese restaurant, down the street. Like that was my worldview. Like I can't say I know anything about the 70s because I was 6. So I mean, to me, I'm a child of the 80s because that's when by the end of the 80s I was a teenager. So I think I can say I lived through the 80s. I was born in the 70s. What decade were you born in?
None of your business.
Carla from Burtcorn, born before dirt.
Yes, I was. I'm not saying I remember 1979. I'm just saying I know where I was.
But that had nothing to do with your age. That had to do with
Nothing at all.
That had to do with acid. Flashback. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been yet another wonderful episode of The Hate Napkin, Season 1, Episode 33. Season 1, Episode 33. Again, we're sponsored by THN Creamy Butter, by Dr. Vasquez or Veracruz, over the wall in Monte something, Mexico. For all of your periodontal over-the-wall needs. And we're also brought to you by Regal Prints. You can find us at thehatenapkin.com. Where else did you think you would find us? Thehatenapkin.com. We also have presence over at The Twatter, The Book of Face, and Instagram. And please send us all the things you hate, including this episode, to info@thehatenapkin.com. That's info@thehatenapkin.com. Now let's turn it over to Carl with the weather.